Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, both the men's and women's basketball team are hitting their stride at the right time. Find out what's helping both teams rack up the wins.
And the football team is sending a record number of players to the NFL Combine. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Clay Abels.
And I'm Meredith Struing. Indiana men's basketball captured its 8th Big Ten win Wednesday over the Fighting Illini, eclipsing last year's total of 7. Our Jordan Burroughs made it out to the game and gives us the keys to victory.
Hey everybody, Jordan Burroughs inside of Assembly Hall where the Hoosiers just beat the Fighting Illini by a final score of 78-68. The Hoosiers grabbed their 8th Big Ten win on the season. Last year, the Hoosiers finished with 7. This year, the Hoosiers are going to have more than 7, and right now they grabbed their 8th. 3 games left to go in the season, so they may be able to increase that number. Archie Miller's team surpassed that 7-win mark inside of the Big Ten. Quick and dirty version of this IU game. The Hoosiers finished 59% from the field, and also, fun tidbit, there were 59 free throws throughout this game. Illinois shot 20 of 30. And then the Hoosiers shot 20 of 29 at the charity stripe. Also, Juwan Morgan finished with his 8th double-double of the season, 14 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists. And Archie Miller said his play, it's just simple.
I mean, he's been a stud for us all season, especially as you come through these February games. He's still playing really hard, really well. So, if he's not, a first-team all-conference member, maybe it's because of our record, but I have a hard time imagining there's an impactful player on a team that's done as much as him for us.
Real quick now, the Hoosiers, it was Dunk City inside of Assembly Hall. A couple good dunks to get the energy going inside of Assembly Hall. LeRon Black for Illinois finished with 20 points. And coming up for the Hoosiers, they will travel to Iowa. That's this Saturday at 2 p.m. The Hoosiers looking to increase their win record, increase their Big Ten wins. The Big Ten tournament is coming up at Madison Square Garden, New York City in just a couple weeks. And the Hoosiers are looking to get a higher seed in that tournament. This Saturday, the Hoosiers at Iowa. For iUS TV Sports, I'm Jordan Burroughs.
The Hoosiers hit the road next, but they'll be back home in Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall on Friday, February 23rd, when they host the Ohio State Buckeyes on Senior Day.
The men have had a great run on the hardwood, but their win streak is only half as long as the women's team. Our Mary-Kate Hamilton is joined in studio by iUS TV women's basketball reporter Austin Render to discuss the team's recent success and upcoming Senior Day. Mary-Kate?
Thanks, Clay. As you said, I'm here with Austin. Austin, you have been covering this team all season. You know them almost better than anybody else. What can you say has contributed to their recent improvement at the end of this season?
Well, it's been continuity for this team. And really, the first 7 games when they were 1-6, different people would have good games, but they would never have good games together. And that's what's changed in this 6-game stretch, has been that you're seeing all 5 players. It may not be all on scoring, but they're all having good games, especially defensively. That's what's really changed, and you saw that in the Purdue game, holding the Boilermakers to 44 points. So the defense and continuity, just everybody playing it more as a team, has really changed this season for Indiana.
Now, looking forward to Saturday against Nebraska, what does this team have to do to continue the momentum and gain another victory onto their record?
Yeah, Nebraska's going to be a good game. Nebraska's a very good team, top 3 in the Big Ten, so they're a team 10-3 in conference that Indiana's going to have some difficulties with. And Indiana's going to have to play really well on Saturday, and it's going to be a great day. Emotions are going to be high because it's Senior Day. Amanda Cahill, Tyra Best could be their last game in Assembly Hall. But they're going to have to really just play as a team and defend like they defended against Purdue. Just the steals, and I thought Cahill had her best game at Purdue. Played really well defensively, blocking shots, getting steals. So if Indiana can get that again from their big girls, Royster and Cahill, that'll be huge on Saturday.
And now, speaking of Saturday and Senior Day, what have seniors Amanda Cahill and Tyra Buss contributed to this program, and what is the legacy that they're going to leave behind?
I think the better question is, what haven't they done for this program? They have changed everything. They came in with Terry Morin. So this is it wasn't her recruiting class, but it was her first class to see all the way to graduation. These two have averaged double figures every year that they've been in this program. And what they're doing is not only on the court, but it's off the court. They're helping recruiting. I don't think Indiana gets Jalen Penn, a 5-star, or Ben Duyaney from Oregon to come to Indiana if it weren't for the success that these two are having. And they're not only great players, they're great leaders and they're great people. I mean, they have been the face of this program, and they've been everything that Indiana women's basketball wants to be, and they've been the perfect duo for this team.
And now finally, Austin, moving into the final stretch of this season, do you have any predictions that you can give us for the postseason?
Well, it's really important for Indiana, I think, at this stage to get a couple wins here down the stretch and look forward to the women's NIT. I think the NCAA is a little bit out of reach for this team, but a 6-game win streak. They've got 3 games here against tough opponents, Nebraska at home and then Minnesota and Iowa on the road. If they can get 1 or 2 of those, they'll get themselves into the women's NIT and could get some more games here in Bloomington, which I think would be a lot of fun. So for Indiana, I think it's women's NIT. Unlike last year, I think they'll be happy with that, and then they'll try and make another run like they did a year ago.
All right, Austin, thank you so much. And now back to you guys at the desk.
Once again, Senior Day will be this Saturday, February 17th at Simon Scott Assembly Hall when they host the Nebraska Cornhuskers at noon.
A duel for the record books took place this past weekend as the Hoosiers hosted the Northwestern Wildcats. IUS TV wrestling beat reporter Michael Tilka tells us about the end of an era.
The Indiana wrestling team has just capped off their final regular season duel against the Northwestern Wildcats. But that wasn't the only finale that the Indiana wrestling team had today, as this was the final event held at the University Gym. The University Gym, better known as the U-Gym, was taken over by Indiana Athletics in 1985 and is the current home to the wrestling and volleyball team. Last fall, IU broke ground on Wilkinson Hall, which is set to be complete by the 2018-2019 season, meaning this would be the last year for wrestling and volleyball at the U-Gym. The Hoosiers were looking to send the beloved facility out on a high note and earn their first Big Ten victory of the year against the Northwestern Wildcats. Sadly, IU was unable to get the lead during the match and would fall to the Wildcats by a score of Northwestern 27, Indiana 12. However, head coach Dwayne Goldman is looking ahead toward the postseason.
This was the last weekend to kind of feel that competitive side of it, and so now they have to mimic that in their training as much as possible and just try to do everything they can to be ready to wrestle at Michigan State.
And Hoosier fans have plenty to look forward to, including the return of redshirt junior Bryce Martin in the starting lineup at 165 pounds.
That it's been, I think, 6 weeks, so it's good to get back before the Big Ten tournament and get the feel again and get my lungs burning and just get back in the groove. So it was real fun.
The Hoosiers will have some time off as they won't be back on the mat until March to take on the rest of the Big Ten in East Lansing, Michigan for the Big Ten tournament. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Michael Tilka.
The Hoosiers will be competing in East Lansing on March 3rd and 4th in the Big Ten tournament. Be sure to follow at IUS TV Sports on Twitter for the latest on the team. And several Indiana football players are preparing to take their talents to the next level, and our IUS TV football beat reporter Joe Cantor has the story.
Well, 5 former Hoosiers are headed to Lucas Oil Stadium to participate in the NFL Combine from February 27th to March 5th. That number ties an all-time record for Indiana football. The 5 players, Tigray Scales, Chris Covington, Richard Fant, Ian Thomas, and Simi Cobbs Jr. are all-timers here at IU. Each left a huge mark on the program, and the program will have a huge gap now that they're gone. During his time here at IU, Tigray Scales racked up the accolades. First team All-Big Ten, became the first Hoosier linebacker to reach All-America honors since 1987, and it's easy to see why. He ranks 3rd for the Hoosiers all-time with 46 tackles for loss and 6th in sacks with 18. Not to be outdone at the linebacker position, Chris Covington wrapped up his 2017 season with 85 tackles, good enough for third on the team, as well as recorded 7+ stops on 6 different occasions. In the defensive backfield, Rashard Fant, a 2-time second-team Big Ten selection, is IU's all-time leader in pass breakups with 53 and started 36 of his career 49 games for Indiana. On the offensive end, Simmie Cobbs Jr., a consensus all-Big Ten selection, is top 10 in several categories for the Hoosiers' all-time record books, tied for 4th with 7 100-plus yard games, 8th with 139 receptions, and 9th with 1,990 career receiving yards. A big play threat downfield, Ian Thomas finished 2nd among Big Ten tight ends and 4th nationally, averaging 15 yards per reception, as well as 11th overall in the Big Ten. Scales, Cobbs, and Thomas are all projected to be picked on the second day of the NFL Draft. Reporting for IUS TV Sports, I'm Joe Canner.
The NFL Combine will air live on the NFL Network from February 27th to March 5th. And when Hoosier Sports Night continues, IUS TV baseball beat reporter Austin Matricardi joins us in the studio to preview the Hoosiers season as they begin competition this weekend in South Carolina.
And we'll take a look back at the week that was in Hoosier athletics. You're watching Hoosier Sport Night.
Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Night. It might still be a little chilly outside, but Hoosier baseball season is about to heat up. Our Austin Matricardi has the preview of this weekend's slate of games.
The IU baseball team is slated to play 4 games in South Carolina this weekend. As they open up their season with high expectations, they're opting to take it game by game.
I think every year you go in just personal and team expectations. Every year we focus on just sort of one game at a time, one weekend at a time, sort of go from there.
They'll square off with a pair of 2017 NCAA tournament teams, Oklahoma and South Alabama, the 2017 Sun Belt champions, the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, and the Kansas State Wildcats to kick off their packed schedule. The Hoosiers will jump right into the fire by design.
We scheduled this way for a reason because we feel like we have to play the best in the country. And we feel like this weekend, when you look at this tournament, you may be hard-pressed to find 4, 5, 6 teams down there that, all got top 25 capabilities.
The competition at the Britain Resort's Battle at the Beach will be tough, but this Hoosier team enters play with talent, depth, and experience. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Austin Matricardi.
As Indiana heads to Myrtle Beach, Austin Matricardi joins our Michael Dugan in studio to discuss this Hoosier baseball team. Michael?
Thanks, Meredith. Now, Austin, there are big expectations for this team this season. But before we look forward, let's take a step backward. They lost 3 key guys last season, Didolo, Krupa, and Butler. How are they going to replace them behind the plate?
Well, they're going to have to kind of do that by committee, but they brought in some great guys. Lamotis does a really good job of recruiting. So he brought in guys like Cade Bunnell and Logan Kalitha that were JUCO transfers. They also brought in plenty of freshmen. You're looking at guys like Justin Walker, stuff like that. And then you've also got Scotty Bradley, who was hurt last year. He's come back and he's ready to take over at first base. So it's going to be kind of by committee for this Hoosier team, and it kind of shows off their depth a little bit.
Now, what about defensively? How are they going to shuffle around and try and replace those holes on defense?
Well, this team has a lot of really good athletes that can play a lot of different positions. So, looking at that, they're going to be changing. They're going to be rolling through and trying guys at different places, especially early on in the season. But, replacing Tony Butler at second, that'll be Matt Lloyd, maybe Colby Stratton, Justin Walker. There's a slew of guys that can play second base. First base, like I mentioned, Scotty Bradley's going to take over there. Matt Gorski will shift to left field and take over for Alex Krupa. And then in center field, you're looking at Gorski could play there too. Laren Eustace could play there. So the Hoosiers have a lot of different guys that can play a lot of different positions, and I think it's going to be beneficial for them.
Now, last season, the pitching staff was young and inexperienced. This season, they returned almost everyone. What's that going to look like Friday, Saturday, Sunday starters, and all the way down to the bullpen?
Well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're probably looking at John Stever and Paulie Milto. Could be the best 1-2 punch in the Big Ten. And then on Sunday, you're looking at maybe Timmy Herron, maybe Andrew Salfrank, a couple of really good guys. Cal Kruger was the Sunday starter last year, but just the other day, Coach Lemonis said that they're trying to turn him into more of a second closer, which could be great for this team. It could completely change the pitching staff. So, and then in the bullpen, Herron's a guy there. B.J. Sable's a guy there that could be, really good, eat a lot of innings, be a good matchup guy. Matt Lloyd's going to be the closer again this year. He's one of the best closers in the Big Ten. So I think that there's a lot of positives with this Hoosier pitching staff, much more so than there were last year.
Now, the big question here, I'm not going to ask for your prediction, but rather, what should IU fans reasonably expect from this team this season?
IU fans should expect this team to compete for a Big Ten championship and to compete to possibly host a regional at Bart Kaufman Field. I think that this is certainly an NCAA tournament team, whether or not they win the Big Ten. So this team has got high expectations, and deservingly so, because they've got a lot of talent, they've got a lot of depth, and they've got a lot of experience.
All right. Austin, thanks very much. Back to you guys at the desk.
This weekend is the start of an 11-game road trip for the Hoosiers. They'll return to Bart Kaufman Field on March 7th when they host the Cincinnati Bearcats.
From one diamond to another, the Indiana softball team opened up play in Kajikau Classic in Tempe, Arizona. The Hoosiers dropped all 5 of their games on the weekend, including 1-run losses to Boise State, San Jose State, and number 23 Arizona State. Sophomore Gabby Jenkins led the way for the Hoosiers, going 6 for 17 at the plate, driving in 2 runs and playing some spectacular defense. But the Hoosiers couldn't string together hits and managed to score multiple runs in just once in their 5-game stretch.
Hitting wasn't where it needed to be. We didn't get the timely hits. We got people on base, but we just never really got that clutch hit. And I think moving forward, that's what we need to be successful, because we have the runners on base and everything we need. We just got to get that clutch hit.
The Hoosiers hit the road again this weekend. This time they traveled to Atlanta to take on the Boston College Eagles and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets as a part of the Big Ten ACC Challenge.
The IU men's tennis team added another win to its record and will have one last tune-up before their conference opener versus Purdue. Last Friday, the Hoosiers went on the road and beat the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders 4-3 and set its record to 5-3. 4 Hoosiers won in the singles to clinch the win. This upcoming weekend, IU will hit the road once again and face Texas Tech in Lubbock at the McLeod Tennis Center.
IU's Division III club hockey team ended their regular season last weekend with dual matches against Ball State Cardinals. The Hoosiers strengthened their almost perfect record on senior night and closed it out with 2 wins. Our Meredith Struing got the scoop before IU heads to Indianapolis for the ICHC tournament.
We're at the rink, we're ready to get the job done and, just pass, shoot, and score.
3 easy steps is what it takes to win, says James Young, a junior on the IU Division III men's hockey team. The team, coached by Jack Menard, finished up their regular season this weekend with 2 games versus Ball State. At the Frank Southern Ice Arena, IU showed no mercy as they outplayed the Cardinals and won by a score of 12-4 on Friday and didn't slow down on Saturday, winning 14-2. The Hoosiers came back after trailing 1-2 heading into intermission number 1, a first for the team all season.
Yeah, the first period was a bit of a fluke. We went in the locker room after the first, and honestly, everyone was still pretty calm. Everyone just, just weren't getting the bounces, and we all just stayed calm, stayed focused, and came out and got the job done in the second and third.
The weekend matches marked senior night for the team, and Casey Roll, IU hockey broadcaster, talked about the strong senior positions that contributed to IU's success.
So with 6 seniors this year, including 1 alternate, the team captain and the team president who played last night, stopped 17 shots on 19 attempts by Ball State. This year's team, really, it's a cohesive mix of youth, age, talent, and experience.
The Indiana Hoosiers will head into the tournament with a record of 14-1-1. They will face off against the winner for the Ball State and IPFW match.
I don't see anybody beating IU except for IU themselves.
The IU Hoosiers no doubt have a great shot at making it far into the tournament.
You know, we've been working hard and coming into the tournament. I mean, nothing's changing. We're keeping it loose in practice, just trying to stay healthy and keep the legs going.
Keep going, hopefully all the way to a tournament championship. For Hoosier Sports Night, I'm Meredith Struing.
We wish the IU men's hockey team the best of luck as they look to dominate throughout tournament play.
Indiana track and field had a full schedule this past weekend, competing both at home and away. At home, the Hoosiers captured first place in 16 events. A lot of solid performances came from underclassmen. Sophomore Marcus Ellington broke his indoor personal record for the mile. Sophomore Bryce Miller served as the rabbit, helping Ellington to his new PR. Next up, sophomore William Session blew through the 60-meter hurdle trials and went on to win the finals for the Hoosiers. William Session also appeared on the men's 4x400 meter relay alongside Isaiah Rare, Derek Grimmer, and Anthony Bello. The relay team brought home the blue once again. Looking to the women's team, the women brought home a blue in their 4x400 meter relay as well. The team consisted of Jalen Valentine, Riley Agbula, Natalie Price, and Kendall Wiles. Sophomore Megan Grabowski sped past everyone in her 60-meter trials, making it to the finals where she earned second place. And finally, the women swept the mile fast section led by freshman Hannah Stoffel and followed by Barrett, both setting new personal records. In addition to the stellar performances at the Hoosier Hills, Indiana sent runners to Ames, Iowa to compete in the Iowa State Classic. On day one, all 4 athletes that competed ran season best times. Next for Hoosier track and field is the Alex Wilson Invitational, hosted by Notre Dame.
It was a jam-packed week over here at Indiana Athletic Events in Bloomington. Here's a look back at the week that was in Hoosier sports.
We're playing, we schedule this way for a reason because we feel like we have to play the best in the country.
One game at a time, one weekend at a time, sort of go from there.
He's playing within himself and just playing within the system at the same time, and he's just making plays for others. And when that happens, it opens up things for him. As you see, he got hot from behind the line earlier today.
Just getting into a rhythm coming into the game, and mentally getting into a rhythm and staying consistent throughout the games.
It's one of the best Hoosier teams in program history, if not IU hockey history, which goes all the way back to 1976.
Regardless of the opponent, it doesn't matter. We'll be ready to go. I mean, we've been looking forward to the playoffs all season. This has been the goal all year.
That'll do it for the show this week. Don't forget to like our page IUSTV Sports on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at IUSTV Sports. For Clay Abels, I'm Meredith Struing. We'll see you next week.